This is another long TikTok, so if you don't have time now, save it for when you have 3 or 4 minutes. Every economy, every economy goes through the same debt cycle pattern, and the US is near the dangerous end of it. But rather than instituting policies to pull America back from the abyss, Trump is purposely and rapidly driving America over the cliff. And this is from Ray Dalio's Big Debt Cycle. If you're interested in how the economy works, follow him. And there's also more information at culturalperspective.com. So here are the 5 stages of the debt cycle. 1. Early stage, healthy borrowing. Debt grows faster than income, and this fuels growth. In the United States, this took place roughly between 1945 and the mid 60s. This is where debt helps. You borrow to buy a house, build a business, go to school. The country borrows to build highways, fund research, and keep the economy moving. Debt grows faster than income, but it feels fine because everyone's getting rich. 2. The mid stage, debt accumulation. Credit expands, asset prices rise, and optimism builds. Optimism in itself grows an economy. This stage took place roughly from the 1970s to the mid 80s. Banks handed out easy credit. Assets like homes and stocks shot up in value. Everyone's feeling wealthy. But underneath it, the bills are piling up, and at some point, they have to be paid off. 3. Late stage, the debt burden rises. Paying off the debt becomes a problem. Central banks, the Fed in the US, lower interest rates to keep the system going. This is what happened from about 1990s to 2008. At this point, the amount of debt starts to drag down the economy. Interest rates get bigger. Households, businesses, and the government are all struggling to keep up. To buy time, central banks cut the interest rates lower and lower so people can borrow even more. But eventually, the rates hit zero, and there's nowhere left to go. 4. The tipping point. This is where the limits are reached. Interest rates hit zero, so the central bank, again the Fed in the US, just prints more money. And the trust in the currency, the dollar in this case, goes down. This started with the financial crisis in the United States in 2008, and it's where the US is right now. The government spends far more than it brings in. Interest payments alone are now a major budget item. Trust in the dollar is an all time low around the world, and inflation is rising. And people are asking, is American debt still a safe place to invest? And finally, stage 5, deleveraging and reset. First, deleveraging is when the government sells assets such as federal lands, natural resources, companies, or infrastructure, cuts spending, raises taxes to bring in more revenue, and restructures debt, reorganizing with their creditors. It also inflates debt away, printing money so the debt shrinks in real terms, and as a last resort, on some debts, it defaults, all to cover the debt payment. This is where Trump is driving the economy right now, rather than looking for ways to avoid the deleveraging and the default. And this is where the reset takes place. The dollar and the US lose their power, and a new global order takes over. So, early stage, healthy borrowing. Mid stage, debt piles up. Late stage, debt becomes a burden. 4. Tipping point, today, limits are reached. And 5. Deleveraging and the reset, the end of US power, what Trump is trying to get America to as quickly as possible. So Dalio argues that once you hit stage 4, the deleveraging and the reset are inevitable, but it can be less chaotic and less painful if it's managed correctly. And Trump seems to be deliberately making it as chaotic and as difficult for the American people as possible. Why would he do that? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.